So you've spent weeks, maybe even months planning out your brand new PC build for 2026. You've watched all the reviews, obsessed over the benchmarks, and you finally found it. The perfect CPU. The one everyone's saying is a total beast for the money. It's sitting in your Amazon cart right now, and your finger is just hovering over that buy button. But wait, just stop. Clicking buy on that processor could be the single biggest mistake you make for your entire rig. The market is absolutely flooded with what I call performance traps. These are CPUs that look amazing on paper or are just massively popular, but are secretly going to bottleneck that shiny new GPU you just bought, kill your productivity, and worst of all, lock you into a dead-end platform with zero upgrade path. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly which CPUs are traps in 2026, and more importantly, what you should get instead. We're going to make sure your hard-earned money actually gets you the performance you're paying for. But first, what CPU are we discussing and what role does it play in the computer? The central processing unit, CPU, primarily serves as the computer's brain, executing instructions, carrying out calculations, and overseeing the flow of data and control signals between all other components. It is crucial for operating the operating system in all software applications. Therefore, since it is vital for running the operating system in all software applications, you should be cautious when selecting the type of CPU. Before we proceed, please keep in mind that I'm not partial to AMD or Intel. I'm not taking sides here. I'm simply sharing how to select a CPU based on my own experiences and those of my friends regarding CPUs. And if you're just starting out with building a gaming PC, you should check out my previous videos about picking a gaming motherboard and gaming GPU. They will help you make a well-informed choice for your next PC. So, what is a performance trap? It's not just a slow or old processor. Some of the CPUs on this list are actually surprisingly powerful. A performance trap is a chip that fools you with one shiny number, like a crazy high boost clock or a name you recognize, while hiding a fatal flaw that's going to come back and bite you later. Maybe it's a low core count that was fine a year ago, but will turn 2026's biggest games into a stuttering mess. Maybe it's a chip that runs so hot it needs a cooler that costs more than the CPU itself, completely wiping out that deal you thought you got. Or the most common trap of all, buying into a motherboard platform that's already obsolete. That means your next upgrade won't be a simple CPU swap. It'll be a full expensive teardown for a new motherboard and RAM. My goal here isn't to just tell you what's bad, it's to show you why. We're going to look past the marketing hype in the spec sheets to see the true value of these chips. Our list is built on market trends, leaked roadmaps, and what we know is coming for software and games. By the end of this, you'll be able to spot these traps from a mile away. Let's get into it. For the last few years, if you asked what CPU to buy, the answer was always the same. Get a Ryzen. The internet is flooded with benchmarks showing AMD on top, and it feels like the war is over. But what if I told you that in 2025, for a huge number of people, that's actually terrible advice? What if, for your exact needs, going with Team Blue is the smartest move you can make? Today, we're ignoring the hype and finding the specific cases where Intel's architecture gives them a serious and surprising edge. Now let's be real, AMD's comeback has been legendary. Their Ryzen chips, especially monsters like the Ryzen 79800X3D and the Ryzen 99950X3D, are the kings of pure gaming. That 3D V cache is no joke. For heavy lifting like 3D rendering or high-end video editing, AMD's core counts usually give them a win. But this is where it gets interesting. Intel isn't playing the same game. They've been doubling down on a hybrid architecture and chasing single core speed, and it pays off in ways that don't always show up on a benchmark chart. This isn't about who's best. This is about who's best for you. Section 1. The professional and single core edge. Let's talk about work. Yeah, big rendering jobs love all of AMD's cores, but what about the rest of your day? So much professional software, stuff like AutoCAD, Photoshop, and financial modeling apps still lives and dies on 1 or 2 cores running at insane speeds. This is where Intel's new flagship, the Core Ultra 9285K, comes into play. While AMD's Ryzen 99950X3D is right on its heels, only about 7% slower in single-threaded work, that small gap can make a real difference. It's the difference between a tool that feels fast and one that feels instant. While the Ryzen chip might finish a long render a few minutes sooner, the Intel CPU can feel snappier across an 8-hour day of active work. Every click, every selection, every manipulation feels just a little more responsive. If your job is more about active creation than passive waiting, that fluidity makes the Intel chip the smarter choice for your workstation. The multitasking masterstroke. The biggest difference between Intel and AMD right now is how they think about cores. AMD gives you a bunch of identical high-performance cores. Intel's hybrid model is totally different, mixing big beefy performance cores with small efficient E-cores. A lot of people wrote this off, but for how we actually use our computers, it's genius. Picture this, you're gaming, but you've also got Discord open, 20 browser tabs, and OBS running just in case you hit a clip. Intel's Thread Director is the brain of the operation, throwing your game onto the P-cores for maximum speed while shoving all that background junk onto the E-cores to get it out of the way. This means your background apps aren't stealing resources or causing annoying stutters in your game. It's an elegant solution for the chaos of modern multitasking, and it makes chips like the Core Ultra 9285K incredible all-rounders. The budget bait. Intel's 4-core i3s. First on the chopping block is a classic that has tempted budget builders for years. The low-end Intel Core i3s. I'm talking about any 12th, 13th, or 14th gen 4-core chip you might find collecting dust on store shelves in 2026. Like the i3 12100F or 14000F. The trap. The trap is simple. The price. These things are dirt cheap. You see a brand new Intel i3 for less than $100 and think, awesome, I could throw way more money at my graphics card. Some of the single core benchmarks might even look okay, tricking you into believing it's all you need for gaming. This is textbook budget bait. You're being lured in by the low price, completely ignoring the performance cliff you're about to walk off. The reveal. Let's be brutally honest. In 2026, a 4-core 8-thread CPU is a disastrous choice for any new PC. It is, without a doubt, a terrible buy. Modern game engines and even basic applications are built for multi-threading now. Developers are finally using more cores, and that trend is only picking up speed. We're already seeing games in late 2025 that bring a 4-core CPU to its knees, causing awful stuttering and frame drops, no matter how powerful your GPU is. Imagine pairing one of these i3s with a new mid-range GPU. You've just created an instant bottleneck. Your graphics card will be starved for data, basically sitting around waiting for the tiny 4-core CPU to catch up. It's like putting a lawnmower engine in a Ferrari. On top of that, these chips have tiny L3 cache sizes compared to the competition, which is critical for smooth gaming. The solution. If you're building on a tight budget in 2026, you have to prioritize core count. Your absolute minimum is 6 cores and 12 threads, period. Even an older AMD chip like the Ryzen 55600 on the AM4 platform is a much better choice. But for a truly new build, you should really be looking at the entry point for the AM5 platform. A CPU like the Ryzen 5 7005F gets you 6 cores on a modern platform with a real upgrade path. That means in a few years, you can just drop in a new Zen 5 or even Zen 6 processor without having to rip out your motherboard and RAM. Don't fall for the 4-core budget bait. It's a shortcut straight to a dead end. The pointless premium. The Intel Core i5-14400F. Next up, we've got a processor that so many people get suckered by right in the middle of the market. The Intel Core i5-14400F. The trap here is all in the name. It's a 14th gen chip, so it just sounds newer and better than its predecessor, the i5-13400F. Our brains are wired to think newer is better, and stores are more than happy to charge you a little extra for that 14 on the box. You pay a premium thinking you're getting a more refined, slightly faster product, and that's exactly where the trap snaps shut. The i5-14400F is one of the laziest refreshes we've ever seen. Testing from pretty much everyone has shown that it performs identically to the cheaper i5-13400F. You're paying more money for the number 14 on the box and getting literally nothing for it. Actually, you're getting something worse. The 14400F has been shown to run noticeably hotter than the 13400F, which means you need to buy a better, more expensive cooler just to get the same performance. So let me get this straight. You pay more for the same performance and get more heat, which either costs you even more money on a cooler or just gives you a louder PC. It's the definition of a bad deal. This isn't an upgrade, it's a side grade that costs more and runs less efficiently. It preys on buyers who don't know any better. The move here is painfully simple. If you're dead set on this Intel tier, just buy the Core i5-13400F. Save your money and enjoy the cooler temps. But the much smarter move in 2026 is to see what that same money gets you from AMD. For a similar price, you can probably grab a Ryzen 5 9600X. Not only does this chip give you an awesome balance of performance on the newer Zen 5 architecture, but it puts you on the AM5 socket. AMD has promised to support AM5 through 2027 and possibly beyond, which gives you a clear upgrade path to future CPUs. Why buy a hotter, more expensive version of a last-gen chip on a dead socket when you can get on a modern platform for the same price? Intel's Core Ultra 200S series. Alright, let's talk about the high end, where a new name is causing a ton of confusion. The Intel Core Ultra 200S series, also known as Arrow Lake. The trap is the branding. Core Ultra sounds impressive, right? It sounds premium, like the best of the best. Intel has been marketing these CPUs by talking about their new tile-based architecture and their fancy AI accelerators. A gamer looking for a top-tier chip sees Ultra, sees the high price tag, and assumes it has to be Intel's best gaming CPU. They think they're buying a direct competitor to AMD's top gaming processors. That could not be more wrong. The Intel has basically admitted that Arrow Lake didn't hit its gaming performance targets. While these CPUs are decent in some productivity tasks, that new complex architecture has introduced latency that's just not good for gaming. In fact, many benchmarks show that the new expensive Core Ultra 9285K is actually slower in games than Intel's own last generation Core i9-14900K. And what's worse, they get absolutely smoked by AMD's X3D processors. The Ryzen 7980X3D, a chip in a similar price range, is up to 30% faster or more in gaming than Intel's new flagship. So you're paying a premium for a CPU called Ultra that gets beaten in games by its competitor and its own predecessor. This makes the whole Core Ultra 200S lineup a really bad choice for anyone building a gaming PC. They're just overpriced for the gaming performance you get. And to add insult to injury, they're on a new LGA 1851 socket, but leaks suggest Intel's next generation Nova Lake will use yet another new socket in late 2026 or 2027. If you're building a high-end gaming PC in 2026, the answer couldn't be clear. You buy an AMD Ryzen X3D processor. The Ryzen 7980X3D is the undisputed king of gaming, thanks to its 3D V-Cache technology. It gives you the best frame rates, it's more efficient, and it sits on the long-lasting AM5 platform. Even the top-end Ryzen 99950X3D is a better pick for a hybrid gaming and work machine than anything from the Core Ultra 200S series. If you're an Intel loyalist, just wait. Intel's next architectures are already slated for late 2026 and are expected to be a huge improvement from being worth it. Buying an Arrow Lake CPU for gaming in 2026 is like paying a premium to beta test a product that already missed the mark. The outdated champion. AMD's Ryzen 7 7800X3 DIC. Okay, this one might be controversial. I can already feel the comment section heating up, which is awesome. Let's talk about the Ryzen 7 7800X3D. The trap here is the CPU's own legendary reputation. For the last couple of years, the 7800X3D has been correctly called one of the best gaming CPUs ever made. It's a champion. Its reputation is so good that even in 2026, you'll still see it recommended everywhere. It'll be on sale and the price will look super tempting next to the newer 9000 series chips. The trap is thinking that its past glory makes it a smart buy for a new PC in 2026. The reveal. Look, the 7800X3D is still a great gaming CPU, but by 2026, the game has completely changed. AMD's newer Ryzen 9000 series built on the Zen 5 architecture is here, and the non-X3D chips like the Ryzen 7 9700X offer way better productivity performance while being very close in gaming. In many cases, a stock Ryzen 7 9700X can match or even beat the 7800X3D in games while being much faster in everything else. And its direct successor, the Ryzen 7 9800X3D, is a solid 15% faster or more in gaming, making the 7800X3D definitively a last-gen product. By 2026, the price of a 7800X3D just won't have dropped enough to justify picking it over a more modern, well-rounded Zen 5 chip. You'll be buying a specialized last-gen champion when a newer all-around athlete is right there for a similar price. That 3D V-Cache is amazing, but it comes with trade-offs like lower clock speeds that can hurt non-gaming tasks. With the improvements in the 9000 series, that trade-off is a lot harder to justify. The smart choice, the solution. For a new high-end build in 2026, you should start with Zen 5. The Ryzen 5 9600X is going to be an incredible mid-range value, while the Ryzen 7 9700X is the perfect balance of elite gaming and fantastic multi-core power for just a bit more than a discounted 7800X3D will probably cost. And if all-out, no-compromise gaming is all you care about, spending the extra cash on the Ryzen 7 9800X3D is the right call. That's the true king now. The 7800X3D is still a decent upgrade for someone who's already on an AM5 and finds one on a crazy clearance deal. But for anyone building a brand new system in 2026, it's a performance trap disguised as a legend. The dead-end deal. Any high-end CPU on a last-gen socket. Our last category isn't one CPU, but a whole class of them. And this is the most dangerous trap for bargain hunters, buying a heavily discounted high-end processor on a dead platform. This means any Intel 12th, 13th, or 14th gen CPU on the LGA 1700 socket, or any AMD Ryzen 5000 series CPU on the AM4 socket. The problem: you're scrolling through Facebook Marketplace or a clearance sale in 2026 and you see it. A Core i 9-14900K or a Ryzen 95950X for a steal. The benchmark numbers are still huge. These were flagship CPUs just a couple of years ago. It feels like you're hacking the system, getting top tier performance for a mid-range price. This is the ultimate trap. You're so focused on the cheap CPU that you don't see the massive hidden costs of the platform you're getting locked into. The analysis. Building a new PC on the LGA 1700 or AM4 in 2026 is a colossal mistake. These platforms are dead, finished. No new CPUs will ever come out for them. That Core i9-14900K is the end of the road. The second you want more performance, you don't have an upgrade path. You have a full-blown replacement path. You'll need a new CPU, a new motherboard, and probably new DDR5 RAM. Your great deal just locked you into a corner, forcing a complete, expensive system overhaul for your very next upgrade. Plus, those old flagships have baggage. A chip like the i9-14900K is famous for its insane power draw and heat. To run it properly, you need a high-end, expensive Z790 motherboard and a massive, costly 360mm liquid cooler. All the money you saved on the CPU gets immediately spent on the expensive parts required just to keep it from thermal throttling. It's not a bargain if it forces you to overspend everywhere else. The solution: always build on a current, forward-looking platform. In 2026, that means AMD's AM5 or Intel's latest socket. Take the money you would have spent on that last-gen flagship and its expensive entourage and instead buy a modern mid-range CPU on a current-gen motherboard. A Ryzen 5 9600X on a B850 board will give you great performance now, plus a vital upgrade path. In 2028, you can just drop in whatever new Zen 6 or Zen 7 CPU is out without touching anything else. That is true value. It's about planning for the future, not just grabbing the shiniest deal from the past. So that's the list. 5 performance traps just waiting to drain your wallet in 2026. From the 4-core budget bait of old i3s to the dead-end deal of a cheap 14,900K, the story is the same. They lure you in with a good price or a familiar name, but hide a fatal flaw that will compromise your entire build's future. The key takeaway is this: think like an investor, not just a shopper. Look beyond that initial price. Look at the core count. Look at the platform's future, and look at the total cost of a balanced system. The smartest builders aren't the ones who find the absolute cheapest parts. They're the ones who build a platform that delivers the performance they need today with the flexibility they'll want tomorrow. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment down below and let me know which CPU you think is the biggest performance trap on the market right now. Is there a chip you almost bought before you saw the light? And if this video helped you dodge a bullet and save some serious money on your next build, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're here every week, cutting through the marketing BS to help you build smarter, better PCs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.